Welcome back to the Vortex Report, your home for Arkansas High School basketball. I'm Coach Vic. This is episode 6. Right now, I'm going to crank things up, and I'll be starting by myself. c12Media will be joining me here shortly in just a moment, but I'm going to get things on the ball for you guys. No pun intended. Tonight, we're going to break down some of the latest matchups, obviously spotlight talent and rising talent around the state, and share some more insights from across the entire state. You'll get perspectives once again from me and Cade this evening, and we'll dive into some of these standout performances and some of these stories that have made Arkansas hoops special in these past coming few weeks. And so we'll get it started here. Once again, appreciate everybody for tuning in. It does mean the complete world to me that you guys tune in to come and, chat, have a talk with us, come and see what we're even talking about. Like I say, I always start every episode off with thanking you guys the most. You guys are the most important tool that I have. You keep this thing afloat for me. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate you guys. Next, before we get started, I'll go ahead and say I probably should have cleaned my screen already. I don't know where my screen wipe is. But I will go ahead and say 2030 rankings are live. PrepHoops.com, 2030 rankings are live now. If you were one of those people asking, I don't know where I put my lens cleaner here. Let's see if I can clean this camera lens out. So, yeah, 2030 is now live for PrepHoops.com rankings. And so that's how we're going to kind of take a crack at things real quick. I'm going to go and look here at the Prep Hoops public 2030 rankings and share a few with you guys. So 2030, obviously, as some of you may know and some of you may not know, is 8th grade currently, right? So not really like, and I tell this, I mean, I kind of say this about every ranking and every level, and whoever does it really doesn't matter, right? ESPN rankings really do matter. 24/7 matters. Prep Hoops matters, right? But then they don't really matter at all. You see some kids that are never on there, they end up in the league, right? They end up on the G League squad, work their way up, play their way into the NBA. Some kids that NAIA, right, that don't end up on these type of lists, and then they end up 2, 3, 4 years later being a senior and balling out, being all conference, et cetera, going overseas, having great careers, stuff like that. So when it comes to rankings, don't be upset, right? Want to be added, want to be valued, want to be listed, want to be named, right? Set it as a goal, make it a marker, right? But do the proper things to get yourself there. Don't just sit on the outside looking in and being like, everybody hates me, or nobody thinks I can play basketball. It's not the case all the time. It's hardly ever the case, honestly. If you are somewhat talented, right, meaning if you start on the team you play for, you more than likely will be on PrepHoops.com somewhere, right? I mean, throughout your course of your career. So just keep working, keep wanting to be a starter, keep earning your spot, keep earning your positions, keep taking what comes to you, and you'll be all right. I'm going to share my screen here in just a second. Let's see if you guys can see this. So here are our current 2030 rankings that are out now. Currently have 60 players ranked with a few on the watch list. There's 40 on that watch list, and there's 60 ranked at the top here, 1 through 60. So that means we have 100 guys listed in the 8th grade, which is, I mean, is a great start. There are even names that I know of myself, right, that aren't on this list, and that's not like a knock or that's not like to say anything. They're just saying, like, there's work to do for everybody, right? There's a lot of work that can be spread around. Everybody can obviously get back to that drawing board and kind of keep up to where – or work to, keep up with everybody else. So obviously here, number one, you guys see Justin Peppers. If you don't know Justin, I would suggest just getting out watching some basketball. Kid is super athletic already. Like, I mean, you see there 6'5", He was dunking in 6th grade, so like 2 seasons ago, he was dunking the ball. He kind of made a name for himself playing, on national AAU level. Even though it was such a young age group, I just, standout talent like that. If you're in 6th grade dunking the ball and you're not like a reclass or a holdback, or, if you're true to your size and your grade, people are going to want to know who you are and see obviously where that may go over the next few years. So from that time, people like myself obviously start watching him a little bit in 6th grade, kind of know a little bit more about him now, keeping track of him, still following along the way. You're seeing the progression jump right off the page for him. He's tracking really, really well. So obviously Justin Peppers is our number 1 8th grader, number 1 2030 in the class of Arkansas on prephoops.com. And I'm pretty sure you could, if there was other state level rankings or sites or programs, they will obviously probably all say the same thing. Skip through a little bit here. I'll drop to number 6. We got Orion Jefferson, super talented kid. He was just injured the last game I went to go see them. It wasn't even a full month ago now. It's probably about 3-4 weeks ago. But I think he was on his way out of that walking boot. So I'll be super happy to see him, heal up, get back to the court fast. Orion is a very mentally prepared, like ahead of his time. He doesn't let small things falter him. Like, a lot of kids, even kids like this seniors now, they cry about, getting a foul call or not getting a call, right? And you just don't see a lot of that with him. You see a lot of the maturity, the next play mindset, the dog mentality that he has. And then obviously, like, he has skill to go with it. So he's a tweener right now. He's obviously listed as a forward. He plays forward. When you're in 8th grade and you're 6'2" and you can handle the ball, you might have a guard that's 5'8", like right beside you, that can handle the ball. You might have 2 or 3 of them that can handle the ball. They're like 5'8", 5'10", a little bit shorter than you. So I'm pretty sure you guys all know how that goes. Playing a forward as a taller guy and then kind of growing out of that spot when the other guys either pan out, which obviously they hit their growth spurt and they don't grow anymore, or you got 6'2" guys that aren't really going to continue to play the small forward. They'll probably move over to the 2 or the 1. As high school really gets further down the line. And I really see Orion shaping up to be one of those guys. So Orion Jefferson coming in at number 6, really talented. Right below that, you got number 8 is his teammate, Harrison Thomas. He's very talented as well. Very strong around the rim. Him and Justin are actually teammates in the summertime playing AAU basketball. Thomas shows a lot of aggression. Like, he really doesn't care who's between him and the ball. He's going to get it. Caden's pretty solid. He's a lot like Orion, like I said. As far as being a tweener, he'll definitely be more of a guard as he moves along into his high school phases, especially like next year becoming a freshman. He'll need to start working on those type of skills just so that he doesn't get behind or pan out. Like, you're not going to be a 6 foot even small forward going to Jonesboro High School very often. Now, we do play a lot of positionless ball. You can line up kind of about anywhere, but if you're going to be playing on the wing as a 6-footer, you're going to have to know how to do a little bit of everything. It ain't just going to constitute of playing like a true forward where you can get to go inside and get off the ball all the time. So, moving on down. Cortland Hampton, number 14. He's a very talented player. So I saw Cortland for the first time early this summer. It was probably like March that just passed. One of the first tournaments that I stepped out to in the summertime to see what was going on. And he immediately made an impact just by his hustle, his energy, and he could score the ball. Like, you can score the ball, you're going to stand out kind of anywhere, depending on like how you can score it. Maybe, some people don't really care. But for me, like I say, it was fast-paced, aggressive, relentless, just consistently attacking. And from guys that young, you don't really see that a lot. You see him play in spurts. You see him get a few good buckets here or there, a few good buckets here or there, and then a few mess-ups. And with Cortland Hampton, it was just 100% energy and speed from the initial tip-off until the final whistle that I watched him play. And then I got a chance to work with him at my Vortex Sports Blueprint Skill Series that we had a couple months ago, back in October. Was that September? I think that was September. No, I'm lying. It was October, like 7th or 11th. 10, 11 might have been. Can't even think of my own dates of my events. But Cortland showed up, And I did not immediately recognize or remember him from the summer. He went through the drills. We went through the whole process of playing, and we got to the part where it was time for me to make cuts. I personally made cuts. There were about 30, 35 kids or so there at the camp, and I cut it down to a final 15 so that we could run full court, kind of get out, run, something that we hadn't really done a lot of throughout that whole time of being there at the session. And to my surprise, I picked Cortland, just like I say, based off the eye test, what I saw, what was going on, who was playing the best, who was communicating, talking, who didn't look tired or bothered or bored when we were doing drills. All of the right things, right? And so I picked Cortland to come play. And it wasn't until the end of the 5-on-5s where I can't remember, something was going on the court, and somebody was like, man, he's in 8th grade. I think it was one of the other players, mentioned he was in the 8th. I was like, what? So I was like, man, so I had to stop the whole camp, basically, make a mention to kind of like everybody for a bit of that commented, we're looking at basketball rankings right here for prephoops.com. So I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. But yeah, so I had no recollection that he was in 8th grade, right? I didn't remember him from the summertime. Like I said, I just picked off the eye test, who was out there playing the hardest, making the right plays, things like that. He ended up getting on to the final 15 and making, more great plays, playing a good way, enough for somebody to step up and mention, like, man, he's in the 8th grade. And so that really caught me by surprise. Like, okay, wow, he's really out here sticking with the seniors, the juniors. It probably wasn't too many freshmen or sophomores, really, but it was more seniors and juniors. And he didn't look too much out of the part. He didn't look like an 8th grader whatsoever. I really thought he was probably in 10th grade by like body size, type, like I say, 5'8", but a little muscle tone, you know what I'm saying? Looked like he was like kind of a tweener, maybe like he hadn't hit that growth spurt yet. But really, really, like I say, surprised and shocked me to see that he was in the 8th grade and out there playing just as well as some of those seniors and some of those juniors were. So Cortland has had my immediate attention since then, and looking for him to do big things moving on into his high school career. Definitely be a player to keep your eyes on. And let's see. Pick another here. Let's go with Beckett Armstrong right here at the bottom. So Beckett's currently ranked number 28. And Beckett's a special piece, right? Because right now Beckett's ranked 28th, right? But just next year, Beckett could be ranked 48th. Between like 8th, 9th, and then 10th grade, your ranking could fluctuate crazy, just depending on you, your body type, and then everybody else. Like you, your body type, your skill set, your game work, and everybody else, right? Like what they do, what they end up turning into, what they end up becoming. Right now, you could be kind of a solid build, maybe like stocky, 5'11", good long arms, and then like you don't really grow anymore. Like I said this already probably 2 times in this podcast just now already, but you get to that point and you're in 11th grade and you're still that same 5'11", kind of muscular, kind of long arms. Nothing's really changed about you at all. And then you might have a guy like Beckett, who we're talking about, who's shot up from being like a 5'7" forward to maybe he's now like a 6'4", kind of like tweener. Maybe he plays a little small forward, a little 2 guard, a little 3. Maybe he can kind of just run the wing, be a shooter, something like that. You never know. So maybe Beckett next year he drops down because he doesn't hit that growth spurt yet, or maybe he's still like a 5'8" shooter going into the 9th grade and he hasn't grown much else about his game. But then let's say by 10th or 11th grade, like I say, he hits that growth spurt. He grows out from being just a shooter to being a facilitator and a defender. And then you can see that ranking kind of jump and fluctuate and change a bunch more. But it's just kind of, like I say, a little bit of insight into the rankings, which I always do like to drop off on you guys while we're here talking about them. Outside of that, Beckett himself is a shooter. Like I was saying, he is a confident kind of guy, like he doesn't really get too much down on himself. He understands when to take his shots, when to kind of get his team flowing. He'll hustle a rebound, play pretty hard. I think he has a good future ahead of him. Obviously, it's kind of being or shaping up to be a prospect as far as the skill set and like physicality, body type goes. But that's all, like I say, based on him, how serious things go, what he takes it. That's as far as any kid goes, right? So as far as any 8th grader in the world is, how serious are you? How serious are your parents about it? How serious is the coach that you currently have about it? What are you doing to kind of excel and get yourself ahead as far as like just outside of what you're supposed to be doing, right? Like not just what, like, you show up at practice every day and coach has okay, today we're going to run 10 sprints. We're going to run 2 miles. We're going to lift this pound. We're going to do these workouts. Outside of that, what else extra are you going to step up and do to become the player that you can become? So those are some of the big things on the outside looking in. That got us pretty much through a couple of the prospects that we could be looking into playing. I mean, we could be looking into watch play for the 2030 8th grade class. I'm going to cut this tab off now. Stop sharing that with you guys. Back to just me here. So, and then I'll go back to the comment we had here. So, this was the comment I was replying to earlier. It says rankings coming out for basketball soon. I'm not sure if you're asking about the ASN just top 25 total rankings, or if you're talking about the Vortex Report podcast, if you're talking about Prep Hoops rankings, but that's what we were just going over for 2030. 2029 and 2030 are both out now. 28, 27, and 26 are to follow that over the next couple of weeks. Those will be releasing as well. You can definitely go catch those there. Forgot what else I was going to say. Maybe I was going to say something else. Can't think. I don't know right off the top of my head now. But yeah, so power rankings. The power rankings for this show will start next week. So next Wednesday when we come on, we'll have our first ever initial power ranking top 25, regardless of class, 1A through 6A, top 25. Right as we kind of crack into some conference play. I know a couple teams that got a few conference games under their belt. A couple teams may have seen a conference foe, but it wasn't necessarily a conference game. And so we're going to kind of give time for those wrinkles to work out. I am currently waiting on Cade to pop in, and he'll have some of those graphics so we can go over our teams of the week and our players of the week. I did just want to get on here a little bit early and kind of chit-chat with you guys, let you guys know that those 29 and 2030 rankings are out. 28s and 27s are followed by that. So if you have a 28 or 27 player that you need to get recognized or you need to get some more shine on, turn the spotlight on them a little bit, please do not hesitate to reach out to me, DM me, comment right below right now, comment the name of school, give me some guys I can check out, some people to look at, and hopefully maybe get them added to the rankings, if not the watch list, that I can get out to check them out more, dig deeper, watch some film, check some stats, things of that nature, you know what I'm saying? So other than that, we're really, like I say, pretty much just waiting on Cade now. I figured he would be here by about 8:30-ish. That's what he said. And so I guess I can go ahead and let you guys know, any viewers out there, if you guys know anyone who is looking to become an intern for ASN, please do not hesitate also to reach out to me. Please DM, reach out, hit me up. I will make sure that I see to it that I get some type of answer back to you. Internship to join alongside ASN. Possibly if you guys have any type of experience with sports media, if you know the game of basketball, more specifically basketball for sure. If you're familiar, if you're comfortable being behind or in front of a camera, please just reach out, let us know. We're looking for some more guys to help fill up the roster. Outside of that, I don't have too much going on. We're still looking for our sponsors, obviously. Really, really, really appreciate you guys for tuning in for these first couple of episodes. These first 6, today makes 6 episodes that we've been running. So 6 weeks now that we've kind of been putting this thing together. And this is where it does kind of hit. I wouldn't necessarily say a stalemate, because like I never really get that feeling, right? This is my passion. This is what I love to do. I never feel like we really hit a stalemate, but I understand from like a viewership point where you tune in a few couple weeks and you kind of see the same format, you see the same layout almost, right? And I know that kind of get like monotone, right, to an extent. Not necessarily boring, because it's new people, it's new things. You're learning stuff that you might not have known. You're catching players and information that you probably didn't have such a clue about in the first place. But I also know how it can be when it's kind of coming at you the same way. And so that's what we're working on throughout these last few weeks of December, is coming back in January for conference, having some new things to throw your way. kind of give it a fresh look, spice things up just a little bit for you guys. But like I said, we definitely appreciate you tuning in. I got 14 viewers out there right now. Can I get any type of roll call? Can I get you guys to drop a comment for me? Let me know what's up. Drop a name of a player that I can go check out. Maybe your favorite team, somebody I can kind of highlight and talk about, which I mean, I could literally just obviously do it on my own, but I love having you guys' feedback and input, giving me things to talk about. Kind of dialoguing back and forth, right? Not just so I'm up here chit-chatting to myself. I'll run down some scores that I have that kind of took place already. So we have Shiloh Christian knocking off Clinton. It looks like 68-47. So I'm pretty sure that was a pretty solid game. Shiloh Christian, you've got Duke Bowman, who we spoke about a few times. And then you've got Clinton Yellow Jackets. They've got Sam Standard, who should be over from football. Pretty solid wing matchup right there between the two. Clinton also has the young freshman sensation, that is Gus Stewart. Unable to get the win tonight, though. Harrison beat Providence Academy by 10, 42-32. Harrison lost a few pieces, but has not lost much of their team mindset where they play together, play selfless, play for one another. And that's helped them win a couple of games this season as well. Joe T. Robinson knocked off Lake Hamilton by about 20. It looks like an 18-point game, 44-62. Pretty sure that was a pretty solid game. Lake Hamilton hasn't had the best few years. Not really retooling as well with athletes. Not like a development thing, right? But they just don't have the best athletes to even build with. So it's kind of tough over there right now. But they're making do with what they can. Losing that game to Robinson, like I say, 62-44. Alba's been playing pretty good as of lately. I think they're on at least a 3-game, if not more. Let me see. Alma might be on more than a 3-game, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, I'm sorry. They're on a 2-game. They lost to Bentonville West, who's still undefeated. I think Bentonville West is like 8-0. But before that, they hadn't lost very much. They're kind of an up and down team at the moment. They hadn't lost very much. I think they'll compete in the West for sure, 5A West for sure. I'm just seeing how everybody right there is kind of like moving right along. You got Russellville, Farmington, Harrison, Greenwood, Mountain Home, Van Buren, and they're kind of all just, 1A, 1B to each other, to be honest with you. Alma knocks off Lincoln Christian by about 30. Pretty sure Shep Newcomb probably had a really tough game. Nashville takes the dub over El Dorado, so going up a conference and knocking off out of conference foe, getting a good win there over a solid El Dorado team who's got 2 dominant scorers. You got Isaiah Robinson and you got Herman Gill down there at El Dorado, and they scored the ball about 18 to 20 points a game per piece. And so for Nashville, Bo Bell went down there, looked like did his thing. Probably Demetrius Shelley, guys down there hustling, and they got the win 74-68. Jonesboro took his talents across the state line over to Memphis, to Tennessee, to play in it just shot my mind. It'll come to me in a second. They're playing in the Classic in the tournament. They played Ridgeway. Ridgeway is normally 50-50. A lot of times they have some super athletic guys who aren't like the most like skilled, and a lot of times they have a lot of skilled guys who aren't the most athletic. If you know anything about kind of like Tennessee or Memphis basketball in general, but Jonesboro got a big W, coming off a tough loss, much needed, 65-22. Blytheville took home a 20-point win over Batesville. Batesville's not a team that's going to come out and lay down, but Blytheville is not a team that's going to come out and play around either. They'll try to put the pace on you, put the pressure on you, and pick it up early and keep it smooth sailing. And it looks like they did that against Batesville with a 20-point win. Nettleton beat Brooklyn. This is more of a rivalry game in my mind than like Jonesboro and Nettleton is. This is kind of like from our Northeast Arkansas people and anybody else who honestly cares. But Nettleton and Brooklyn, like they seem to go at it no matter what. Like no matter who's there, whether they have like a star player on either side, which both of them currently do right now, star singers on each team. But this game has always just kind of lived up to the hype. Like it's always going to be kind of a close one down the stretch. It's always going to kind of be a meaningful game. Even though it's a non-conference, it always means something more. Like I say, when you kind of facing city foes or close crosstown type of rivalry. But Nettleton gets the dub in this one, 53-48. That makes their second, if not third time seeing and beating Brooklyn this season. Earlier this season, they took home a 1-point win at home versus Brooklyn early in the season, probably like first week, second week of the season. And like I said, the two singers in that game are TJ Whitney for Nettleton, and then you've got Lane Webster for Brooklyn. Both guys are powerhouse dunkers. Highlight tapes waiting to happen. So you got some pretty decent scores there. Couple of I don't think there was any upset out of any of that. Maybe you didn't really think that El Dorado would fall, like I said, because they were like the upper class opponent. They were, the 5A opponent versus 6A opponent, but not too much of an upset. But just a good win for sure. My bad, y'all. We're here looking at what's going on. We'll get into looking at some matchups. I guess I'll go ahead and kind of break this down. I don't have a pick'em this week. We didn't do a pick'em at all. So I'll talk about some matchups that I'll be looking forward to kind of paying attention to. Robinson and Blythe will play tomorrow, which I think that'll be a really good one. It'll push both of them. It'll kind of show them something of what they haven't seen from who they played already. Blythe was pretty athletic. Robinson's got some good shooters, and so it'll kind of make them work on opposite ends. Blythe won't be able to just pack the paint versus athleticism. They have to step out and really guard those shooters. And then vice versa for Robinson, they'll have to kind of pack the paint, and they won't have to just be able to worry about playing the passing lanes and getting the ball off the three-point line. A bit of a rivalry just because, I think they're more like crosstown, whether it's always good or whether somebody's always winning or not, it doesn't really matter. Star City or Whitehall. Whitehall is kind of on a down year, in some people's eyes. Star City's on a pretty good up year right now, right? They've got some pretty good promising talent over there. Coach Reggie Turner does a great job with those boys over there. You got Keelan Turner, who's a guard over there. He's been playing pretty well, scoring the ball at a pretty efficient, effective level, getting good 20-point games. Like every other game or so, right? It'd be 22 here. I think it was 22 and 29 the last two, and then the game before that was 19 and 21 before that, and 18 before that. So pretty much a 20-point per game average coming from your Star City lead guard there. But I think they'll go to Whitehall and knock them off tomorrow. Whitehall's got some younger talent that's kind of coming up with their 28s and 29s. 10th and 9th grade, that is, that's kind of looking to gel and mesh and grow and bring things together. You got Jakari Cherry. You got the Lindsay brothers. There's somebody else that I'm immediately missing that I know I am for Whitehall. Can't even think of it now. But yeah, so like I said, they got some promising talent, but a little bit younger. Whereas Star City's kind of got some mid-level guys, some sophomores, seniors, a junior or two that really make plays and make statements in games. So I think Whitehall will go to Star City tomorrow and knock them off. Then you got Clinton and East End. I think this will be a really good matchup tomorrow. Clinton, like I say, they can show really good heights. It's if shots are falling, they look good, things are going on. And if it's not, then at the end of the game, the box score really didn't tell the full story. It doesn't tell how hard they actually played or how hard they actually fought. Even if they lost by 15 or 18, it was still a really good game, probably until later on down the stretch. And that's pretty much what Clinton's going to show up and give you every time. And then I think from us talking about East End enough on here, you guys, if you viewed more than 2 or 3 episodes, you know that East End is not to be taken lightly no matter who they're playing. If they're playing a 1A or a 6A, they're going to play the same exact way and anywhere in between. Coach Patel has them kind of just geared up and ready to go every game, has a good game plan, and they come out and try to execute that. They normally do a really good job at that. And so I see them taking the win over Clinton tomorrow as well. It looks like that's in the Classic or tournament too. That's probably the same one. Is that at Lake Hamilton? Does anybody know that? Anybody drop a comment and let me know? Some other smaller games that'll be kind of smaller conference games that'll be big or good. Nevada plays Hamburg, and both of those communities, like I said, they're not too far apart from each other for real. Maybe an hour, and it could be more than that. I could honestly be wrong. I don't think Nevada's more than an hour away from Hamburg, but those two communities really just show up for each other, or show up for their team respectively. I guess that's probably a better way to say it. We often talk about big schools and like how they're, the arena and the atmosphere is loud and packed and but like we really forget about how much like the whole community, like everybody's mom, dad, grandma, uncle, auntie, little cousin, brother, sister, niece, nephew, everybody comes to the game in these small communities like this, and it really just makes it that much more fun and impactful on the game itself. So definitely Nevada versus Hamburg would be one of those type of games. Like I said, I had my first chance to really go down to Hamburg this fall and kind of get a tour around and just see what was going on. And it's not like I didn't really just know the area. I've been through there a few times, but I never really just set any roots there and seen what was going on, right? And so I did get a chance to do that, and it just let me know like it was a very, very, very home, welcoming, old time, old town kind of feel. And then just from me seeing Nevada show up to Hot Springs like they did, just ready to support, you know what I'm saying? And each game in and game out, seeing their fans steady show up and fill up the stands, pack it out, seeing the word of mouth just grow and grow and grow. And now you hear about the Blue Jays all the time. You can strongly just believe that these two communities will have their gym rocking tomorrow. Sorry, guys, I'm over here halfway sidetracked. So Nevada versus Hamburg tomorrow will be a very good game as far as atmosphere, full gym, solid small conference players. Both teams have those. And then moving on down, a couple more games we got on the schedule tomorrow. A really good 4A matchup. They're on opposite sides of the 4A, but obviously could come down the line later to see each other at some point in time. Will be Westside and Stuttgart. Stuttgart really does have a good chance to win this over a really good Westside team who's 8-2 currently. Stuttgart's only at 3-4, but if you guys remember, they played deep into the playoffs. Kane Price, who's their quarterback, who's really good at basketball too, was obviously not playing for a couple of those games. Meanwhile, they had their small shooting guard, Jordan Abram, going off. He's had like 39, 28, 25, 15, 16, 18, so Jordan's scoring the ball really well. You got Wesley Farmer over there who plays pretty tough on the wing. He can score it too. He does a little bit of everything else as well. You got Kane Price coming back now, along with some of the other football guys. So Stuttgart has a really good chance to step up and face this Westside team like at full strength. Sadly, the Westside team is not at full strength. I got terrible news from my guy Mike Adu the other day that he got an MRI and has completely torn his meniscus. And I don't want to say any other ligament, but there's another ligament messed up. I don't want to get the wrong one. That's not what I want to say. So Westside's not at 100% full strength, seeing how Micah is probably their best player on both ends of the court. Very, very well-rounded guy, 2027, who does have a chance to come back, get healthy, play again next year. But be a good game between Westside and Stuttgart. I really can't call it in this one. Stuttgart might end up being able to pull out the win. Moving along, this will probably be a good game as far as like for their region. Wonderview plays Augusta. Wonderview's got to kind of like when they're on fire, right? It's gonna be really hard to beat them. But like if they're not really just like knocking everything down, they don't really look like that much of a threat. And that's really just simple as what it is. outside of that, let me see. You got Rodgers and Harrison. So Harrison, like I was just talking about, is kind of like a selfless team. They'll always kind of play together, stick together. Rodgers is kind of mirrors that, right? Like they look like they're having a lot of fun this season. I haven't been able to actually go out and see them in person. I did watch some of the film where they beat Jonesboro. And so there was a lot of things that I realized about them in that game coming into this season. I was like, okay, these are the keys. These are things to pay attention to. These things to watch for, especially as the course of the season continues. So I think this will kind of be a signal game that'll let me know something as far as like what I watch for, what I see is like, are they going to play down to the level of their competition, or are they going to go in there and stop Harrison out? I think they have enough talent to go in there and beat Harrison pretty well, 15, 12-point game. But I think Harrison could very well keep that very, marginalized into a 6 or 7-point game if Rodgers comes out and doesn't play to their full strength. So that'll be something good to watch for. Another good game. Although Rodgers Heritage is 0-6 right now, they're really just trying to put it together. I've watched them play quite a few games actually already this season. They were in a couple of classics or tournaments or whatever that I was at early in the season, so I got to catch them with a couple of glimpses. I'm pretty sure you all know Sky Davenport. Heck of a player, man, but they just got to figure it out. They got to put it together. They got to get guys in the right position to succeed and actually keep a lead and win the games. And that's on both sides. It's on like from the guys on the court when they're out there together. You guys got to help each other out, right? And that's from the coaching staff as well to put things out there that are on the court that's going to be successful, that's going to lead to success. But they do end up playing Russellville tomorrow, right? So that'll be a pretty good. Where as far as like the skill on the court will probably be very evenly matched. The talent on the court, I think Sky will probably still be the best player on the court on either team. But Zayden Williams very close behind him. As far as just the athleticism, he can defend and keep up with Sky. I would love to see him guard him a lot in that game tomorrow, actually. But that will be a great game between Russellville team, who started off kind of hot and who's kind of fizzled out. Yeah, not really fizzled out. I don't really know if that's really the right word to say, but they've kind of leveled out right now, right? They played a little bit of harder competition, and kind of that's helped them to kind of take a few steps back and humble themselves, sitting at 3-4. But they are playing against, like I say, 0-6, which doesn't really speak to the talent level of that squad either, but they're 0-6. It speaks to Rodgers Heritage record. So you got 0-6 Rodgers Heritage, 3-4 Russellville, very kind of evenly matched skilled teams. Russellville might be a little bit deeper as far as like 1 through 8 that can kind of play and be effective, and that may be the deciding factor in that game. Another pretty good game, and this is a rivalry as well. Paragould and Brooklyn, another Northeast Arkansas game. Paragould at 4-1, Brooklyn at 7-4, maybe. I don't think that's counting the loss tonight. So they're at 7-4. This game actually just played a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I think they just played. They did. They played November 26th. And Brooklyn won this game. Or no, I'm sorry. They played November 25th, and Paragould won this game, by 5. It was a super low-scoring game. I actually covered this game. I don't know how I forgot. 38-33. Super low scoring. I don't think anybody in the game had over 10 points. I think 10 points was the top score. And that was from a player from the losing team. And so to say the least about that game the first time around, super disappointed, honestly, just because of the low scoring affair. It wasn't like it was like, oh my God, they're playing such great defense. There's some crazy schemes going on. There's a steal every other time. It was a whole bunch of misses and a whole bunch of rebounds. I would definitely hope to not see the same thing again tomorrow. And that's kind of the simplest way to put it. But it should be when I say a good game, I mean like competitive close, right? It should be a good competitive close game. Like I said, I can't speak to – I thought the first time that it would be a good game, like overall total 60, 70-point game, somebody go for 20 maybe, a couple highlights, but it was not anywhere near that the first game around. So, I'm just looking through matchups, you guys. This Jacksonville plays Parkview, but I think they should 20 ball them. If Parkview doesn't 20 ball Jacksonville, I'm probably looking at them a little bit differently. Oh, I had this game on my calendar, and I'm not gonna be able to make it. Am I gonna be able to make it with this tomorrow? Oh yeah, no. I should be there. Don't quote me on this if you're watching and you're a player for one of these teams, but I should be able to make it to this game tomorrow. I'm DeWitt versus Riverview. So a couple of my guys, obviously, if any of you know DeWitt, you know Elijah Burgess, probably 6'7", 6'8" kid, plays down low. He's a sophomore, excuse me. Played with us last year, Arkansas Assault on the Puma Next Pro circuit. Very, very upside potential heavy kid, right? Like there's a ton of things that he could be really good at, and that's what we're really trying to focus and hone in and letting him know like how really good he could be at certain things. But Riverview is a really good team that's been able to put it together between Traylon Shepard, Shannon Moore, Jordan Nicholson. Then DeWitt's got the brothers and Zay and Lay Cox. And then, like I say, you've also got Radrick Fry. You've got Elijah Burgess, as I mentioned. So there's about 6, 7, right? There's a couple of players in this game that you obviously could have your eyes on if you want to go check a good game tomorrow. That'll be a good matchup over at Riverview. 90% chance I'm going to make my way over to that game. Yeah, so if so, I'll be letting you guys know. Another one that'll be kind of competitive for the South. And this is just because of, like I say, city rivalry maybe, or just they always step up for these games. But it'd be McGee versus Monticello. McGee's got Jacorian Love. Monticello has Peyton Strickland. Those two will probably be the biggest two names in that game. Some guys to watch for. You got Riverside versus EPC, which will be another pretty strong game in the Northeast Arkansas area. Riverside has played quite a few games already. They've done a little bit of everything as far as like winning, losing, a couple blowouts, been blown out a couple of times, right? So they've seen a little bit of every side of everything. They've had all of their guys mostly all season. EPC is just like one game in under their belt, coming off a loss in the 2A state championship football. And so I know their football guys are probably a little bad taste in their mouth about that one. They're coming off a championship in basketball last year. And so I know they're looking to go right back and do the same thing. So I'm thinking they're going to come out and try to set that tone early and try to smack Riverside. That'll be a good Northeast Arkansas game right there to watch. A 5A matchup, which I think should be a runaway, will be Maumelle versus BB. I think Maumelle should run off with that one by 20 right after halftime probably, if not before then. But they are both 2-win teams. So, I mean, that could be an indication of anything, right? Sylvan Hill's getting another crack at some real competition tomorrow. JJ Wise, sadly, is still hurt with a wrist injury, looking to come back in about, I think, 6 more weeks. But that hasn't really deterred the Bears, right? They went and beat Mills without him. Darius Folks has been a great leader. Stepped up in a big way, been able to kind of dictate the flow of things a lot more. And they're on an 8-1 run right now, right? So like they're 8-1, great wins, not small wins, not huge, like shocking. Oh my God, there's no way they would have won that game. But great fights, good wins. They're standing in the battle all game long. My bad. They play Little Rock Christian tomorrow. JJ Andrews won't be back either, so I don't think we'll have either of the JJs in this game right here, which will probably still, like I said, I don't think that'll change a bit about it. There still will be a very highly competitive game on both sides. Coaches are still going to have the game plan for the weapons that are on the court. And that is one I'm looking forward to going back and watching the film on. So I'll definitely be catching that one for sure. Sylvan Hills versus Little Rock Christian tomorrow. I think, like I said, neither of the JJs plays. I see Christian probably winning by like free throws down the stretch, maybe like a 4-point win. But it could literally be very well just the other way. What's up, Coach Burton, Jason? What's going on? Yeah, I talked about that just a minute ago. You guys, Nevada plays Hamburg tomorrow. I spoke on, kind of what potential matchup that would be. Just looking at a few other matchups. Nothing too crazy. Morrilton and Cutter Morningstar, as you guys know, they're like another crosstown. Like I say, like all of these are like, small, like local, you feel me, right down the road, 20 miles apart type of rivalries. Cutter Morningstar is off to a really good start though. Within 10 games, and they're 7-3. They've been playing a little bit of like competition, like 4A, 3A, 2A, kind of like what's right around them. Pretty solid. I think Morrilton should go in there and knock them off though. Morrilton's got to come out at some point and decide to say, hey, we are the 4A state championship runner-up squad. We did bring back two of our most key pieces, being Isaiah Templeton and Ty Wright. Like, let's show up and play like we know how to play. So I think maybe they're knocking off some of the rust, the basketball rust that is, like coming from playing football and stuff like that. Some of those guys are really just coming in, finally getting them back into basketball shape, which is a bit of a different thing, right? No excuse, but I think they'll find a way to get it on track, and I think they'll knock off CMS tomorrow. William Davidson, appreciate you for checking in with us. Star City versus Whitehall. Yes, sir. I just went over there just a minute ago as well. That's one of those other things, like I say, they're more like rivalry games, right? Like, no matter how good the record is of each team, or no matter who has the star at the moment or whatever, like there are always games that the community shows up for. It's going to be a good atmosphere, good gym atmosphere, good competitive nature for both squads. I think I did say, obviously, I had Star City taking that one. Coach Turner has those boys playing really well right now. Keelan's playing at a high level, scoring, 29, 22, 25, 18, 19, averaging obviously around 20 points a game. You got a few more seniors over there that I know of than I do for Whitehall. Senior-led teams are obviously stronger than some of those underclassmen-led teams, just like Whitehall is. Whitehall, you got Jackson Turner. That's who I forgot I was talking about earlier. Jackson Turner's a pretty solid 2028. You got the Lindsay brothers who are underclassmen, or Marley's an underclassman for sure. Lucas is a 2028 as well, I think. So you got some guys over there that can compete, some guys that will compete for sure. But I think Star City will be too much with the way that they're playing currently and the way that they have been playing all season. I think they'll be too much to handle. My bad. I'm trying to help get Cade in here. Cade just joined us, so Cade will be joining the stage in just a second. Going down some more of these matchups. Okay, we got the Battle of Saline County tomorrow. We got Benton and Bryant, so that'll be another game that I go back in. I'm excited to watch that film on. I don't know if you guys can tell I didn't do my calendar this week. I would have had all these games wrote down. Had a very busy beginning to the week. I probably could have did it still. Once again, no excuse. It's already at the end of the week, though. Me being me, right? Bryant and Benton. If anything tells me anything, right, Benton's going to step up in a huge way. They're going to come out super hyped and excited for this game, right? And there's going to be 2 or 3 mistakes here or there. And it's not going to be end of the world mistakes. It's not going to be like game losing mistakes. It probably won't be like right as the game is really like at the end of the game, right? It won't be like final 10 seconds mistake made, shoot ourselves in the foot, lose the game. It'll be like 1 or 2 in the first quarter, 1 or 2 in the second quarter, 1 or 2 in the third quarter, 1 or 2 in the fourth. And that's going to lead to that's going to add up to like a disparaging lead that they can't really kind of fight back into the game and be able to win back. Bryant's currently undefeated. They've been in-state, top competition, regular, smaller, higher, lower, out of state. They've done it all undefeated right now, right? So I don't really see them skipping a beat and losing, especially not when like the county rivalry's on the line, right? Like we say, like it's kind of like rivalry week over these first couple weeks of basketball. You play who's close to you a lot of the times, save a little bit of money, obviously have a little rivalry game, benefit game of sorts, right? It's not a benefit game, like it doesn't count, but it benefits the community itself, everybody coming out supplying and giving back to the school. And so those type of games are always going to have great meaning other than what's always just on the court. Sheridan and Arkadelphia will probably be a pretty interesting game. Sheridan's been putting together some really good wins. Coach Scott has been executing X's and O's pretty well over there, and those boys have been stepping into their roles and playing really well. Arkadelphia is a team that is full of athletes. They're not going to come out and lay down. If you let them stay around long enough, they will. If you let them stay around down the stretch of the game, they might just knock you off. So that is a for sure thing. That's a good game to watch for tomorrow. I think Sheridan end up winning it, though. They're on a pretty good run right now. They've knocked off some tough teams, and I don't think Arkadelphia is harder to beat than a couple of the other teams that they have beaten. So, Cabot has a good chance to go win a game tomorrow. They're a 6A super underdog, and I think really they just need a few more athletes. They got great coaches, and a few more guys who have just a little bit more basketball experience under their belt. There's no knock on who's there now, right? Like every kid's just not a basketball player in fifth grade. They just don't start playing basketball in fifth grade. It happens. And when you're in the 6A, you normally play against kids that have been playing basketball since first grade. So they do have a really good chance to win a game against Lake Hamilton tomorrow, who's kind of a more evenly matched team all across the board as far as like 1 through 10 goes. Records don't reflect that necessarily. Lake Hamilton 6-2, Cabot 3-5. But I think this is a game that Cabot can go in there if they set the right game plan, execute it the right way. They can beat Lake Hamilton for sure. And I think that kind of segues into the next team I'm going to talk about, which is the Fort Smith Northside Grizzlies. They're 2-6, but that doesn't speak to like the collective they are as a team. Like it doesn't mean like they're just going out and laying down. It doesn't mean they're going out and getting blown out. It doesn't mean they're not skilled. Those 6 losses have come from opponents that are just as good, if not better than them, and they've come in pretty close games. And I can tell you from a coaching standpoint, when you have those type of things and you don't make the same mistakes in game that cause you to lose, when you don't make those same mistakes that cause you to lose, then you're really setting yourself up for success down the line when things really start clicking. Like when your younger guys really figure and fill out their role, when like you as a coach kind of see more of your roster and your go-to and your game plan and your X's and O's, you can really start filling out things, really well, especially when you challenge yourself early in the season like that. But they do match up against the Silo Christian Saints tomorrow, who are 8-3, and who have just returned their football guys after they have won. After they have went to the state championship in football as well. So their football guys are returning. So Shiloh Christian will be back in full force against the Northside Grizzly team who is trying to put it together. That still will be a really good game. I think be super competitive, far beyond the first half, probably well into the second half, into the fourth quarter. Good game to watch out for with some Northwest Arkansas opponents going at it, some good regional opponents over there matched up. Maybe some people don't consider Fort Smith Northwest. I mean, the rest of the state kind of does. River Valley, if you want to call it that. Farmington and Springdale will probably be a solid game. I can see Farmington winning this one, though. Like I say, if you've ever watched or heard us talk about Farmington, they're just way too well coached. The guys execute really well, too. They're very skilled. They're very selfless as like brothers on the court. They take very good accountability. They don't blame each other for things. You never, ever, ever. I've never seen them argue one time ever in my 4 years, maybe like closer to 6 years really watching them. 4 years of just like really deeply scouting them. Like I've never seen any of their players argue with each other. Springdale is on a down year, as some would call. Obviously, if you went to the state championship last year and you're not going to get back to that this year, I think when you play in 6A and you play like meaningful basketball a lot, just like I say this, I'm a Jonesboro alum. When you play meaningful basketball a lot in the 6A, it's like either championship or bust. And I think Springdale's kind of gotten themselves into that rhythm these past couple of years, and I don't think this will be one of those years for them. I think Farmington can go in there as the underdog conference-wise and knock off the bigger conference foe, Springdale. And that's kind of all of the games that really run down on Friday that are worth just talking about. I'll talk about a Saturday game that's really on my mind is that Bentonville West in North Kansas City. North Kansas City is not like a national powerhouse team every year, but I mean they're always like solid. It's like a feeder probably isn't the right word. It's not a feeder school, but however you really want to put it is really just like they're a solid school every single year, honestly. Like there's a bunch of schools you can relate them to here, as far as especially as in the past couple of years in Arkansas, where just like the excellence and the greatness is demanded. So I think Bentonville will have a pretty good matchup in that game. And I really was more focused on Bentonville in this one because they are undefeated. They've got make sure they don't. They play Shawnee tonight, Shawnee Mission. So like I said, they're in another tournament. And so if they win that game, I think they'll be good until Saturday, or they might play Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. So they got 3 games in 3 days. They're playing one right now, which if they pull that one out, obviously they're still undefeated. If they win tomorrow, still undefeated. So they got a chance to finish this weekend 10-0 versus, like I said, they'll be in the same kind of seat as Bryant, really, with having seen that level of competition where it's good in-state competition, upper class, lower class as far as in-state goes, and then the same thing for like a national or out-of-state level. Bentonville West will be seeing that. And if they go 10-0 and finish this weekend strong like that, they'll probably be in a really big hot seat with a big target on their back as far as people just kind of like wondering, what's Bentonville West doing over there that's got them looking like this, right? And so that could potentially be like a make it or break it situation, right? They go 10-0 and their confidence is crazy high and they keep carrying that out. Or they're going to lose 3 of these games versus these out-of-town guys, and they're like, man, maybe we ain't what we thought we was, right? So that's all a part of like that locker room mindset, right? Whatever those guys in the locker room, however their mindset is shaped out to be. My bad. Looking for something. I'm trying to see, did I get my email? No. Okay, back to the drawing board. Harrison and Conway play tomorrow as well. So, like I said, I just talked about Harrison a few times over. Harrison, one of those teams where they will show up big and then they'll kind of fold. They kind of play to the level of their competition. They're super selfless. They play together. They play good brand of basketball, but it doesn't always beat good teams, right? So they play Conway, who's a pretty good team. 1-3 right now. They kind of got a late start to their season too, as far as like 6 other guys are compared who have 10 games under their belt. Conway is going into like their 4th and 5th game. So still figuring some things out about themselves, finishing up, bringing some guys in, getting the pieces kind of, the kinks worked out, getting the pieces to mesh together. There's always going to be a wrench in any plan, right? Especially if you ever coach basketball, you know that. You have to take some even if you got the same team returning from last year, obviously you hardly ever do in high school, but if you got the same more or less core group of guys, when you get them back in, it always takes some time to mesh out one or two things or add that one or two pieces in, that new wrinkle into the game. Fayetteville sitting at 1-3. They play Saturday versus Booker T. Washington. Fayetteville's kind of underwhelming right now. But I'll give them the same pass that I'm kind of giving everybody else this early in the season, is that new pieces, just putting things together. Players have to figure out a way to help each other out, make each other better. Coach has to figure out a way to make the players on the court figure that out, right? There's a job that everybody has to do, is kind of passed around and passed down. Not to say like they're not doing their job over there. Coach Stamps does a good job over there for sure. I think it's more on those guys that are out there on the court trying to figure it out together and get it all worked out. But I think they will. Before it gets too late, hopefully, and they can pull it together and look good as we head into like February. So I say no more than another 30 days, and they kind of got to be sharpening it up for real. And if you think in basketball time, I think 30 days to some people might sound like a lot of time. If you know basketball, you know 30 days is nothing. It's a lot of nothing. I mean, there's plenty of time to do some stuff, but then we look up at the end of that 30 days and you figure out what you have done and what you have actually learned and applied, you're like, man, we still got a lot we need to do, right? And so I understand it. I get it. But it's just about cramming and learning and getting that down pack in the next 30 days and learning and growing as much as you can as a team. It's not necessarily individually or like personal growth or skill work. It's meshing together as a group of guys. So that is something that I feel like you can obviously knock out in 30 days. Another good game for Sylvan Hills will be against Hot Springs. That'll be Saturday as well. Hot Springs is really putting it together. They got a couple young pieces, though, for sure. Between the freshman Van Hayes, you got sophomores, Deron Higgs, Judah Johnson, and Nick Haynes, who are all pretty critical pieces of the team. They'll be really scary to watch in about 2 years. This will be a good game, though. Sylvan Hills versus Hot Springs is on Saturday. Marion and Bryan is also on Saturday. It'll be a really good game. Marion just knocked off Jonesboro the other day, another 6A opponent. Marion setting themselves up for a very tough non-conference schedule. Obviously, at the end of the season, Marion's looking at probably trying to go see, Benton or Little Rock Christian in that 5A championship. Barring anybody else making like a great run deep, Nettleton, right? You got some really good 5A Farmington. You got some good 5A teams out there. Don't get me wrong. But they're amongst that group, right? They're amongst the real contenders, right? That we can actually see this early into the season. They go play Bryant Saturday, and that'll be a really, really, really good test, just like this test was against Jonesboro, to show them where they're at, what they're capable of doing, what they're capable of shutting down or stopping. Obviously, with two very talented seniors in RJ Young and Kamarian Beat over there for Bryant, two top 5 in the class on prep hoops in the state. And so I think Bryant wins that game. I really don't know if Bryant loses the game. I've been kind of just going over their schedule. I'll read a few of them off, like their next 5 probably I can see. Let me see. So they play, they got their hardest stretch is right now, obviously, right? So like if they don't lose one of these next 5 games, like I don't think they won't lose probably maybe until March. Like they don't really have a real chance of losing until March again. But like I say, So Benton, like I just talked about, they play Benton tomorrow. I think they'll win that game. They play Marion on Saturday. I think they'll win that game. Then they roll back around. They play Little Rock Christian January 6th. JJ could be back. That game could be a whole nother story. That will probably be a game that they have a teeter-totter, right? They play Jonesboro January 9th. That game will be pretty tough just because Swift is a great coach. He's going to defensively scheme to try to get one of those two guys out the way or to try to slow them down just a little bit, right? Little Rock Central. So you got January 6th, 9th, and 13th. You got Little Rock Christian, Jonesboro, and Central. Bryant plays those three teams. So, like I said, it's a really, really tough gauntlet coming off the new year, but winnable. Winnable. I mean, and after that is Southwest, Cabot, North Little Rock, Conway, Jonesboro Central, Southwest, Cabot, North Little Rock, Conway conference. Central gives them a problem in conference, probably. Jonesboro gives them a problem in conference, probably. Maybe one of those games, North Little Rock bothers them a little bit. North Little Rock's just too up and down sometimes. Like, Bryant's very steady, evenly killed, very well coached. They fall back on what they know very, very well. All of their wins have been, I don't think they have a close one. 40, 20, 20, 20, 20, 30. 10-point game versus out-of-town team is the closest game, 54, 55, 45. Something like Brian's walking down everything, walking through everything, whatever you want to call it, right? Don't really see them losing too much. Marion has a really good chance. Marion's at full strength, coming in with the right game plan, right attitudes, right everything. They got a chance. Marion does have a chance Saturday. That'd be a very good game. I will be looking forward to catching. I need to actually find out where that's at. It's in Bryant. Yeah, so I'll be there at that game for sure. Moving along. Let me see. Do I have this email yet? Okay, I got some of the email that I need to have. Give me just a second, guys, and I'll get this stuff pulled up for you. We'll be able to get to our players of the week and our teams of the week and wrap up for the night, get you guys out of here. I appreciate you all tuning in. It looks like we have about 50 concurrent viewers right now. Once again, we always want to thank you guys. Without you guys, we do not have this show, right? I'm on here talking to myself, and there's no way I'm not insane at all. Like I wouldn't be. Yeah, feel me? I would not get on here talking to myself at all. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. It means the world to me. Your feedback is greatly appreciated. It's very, very important. What? Folder name's not valid. My bad, y'all. Appreciate you guys once again for tuning in, like I was saying. Okay. Now you guys can see that my eyes are back focused on the screen, huh? Pulling in the images for episode 6. We're going to crack it off with our 1A player of the week, who is Landon Burley. Landon has totaled up another 40-point game this week. This is his second 40-point game of the season. If you do not know Landon Burley, I would suggest you go figure out. Columbia Christian, Landon Burley, 1A player of the week. That boy can put the ball in the bucket. Simple as it gets. He can flat out score the rock. He's done it against bigger conference, smaller conference opponents, so I don't think it's something like that, right? It's not. Excuse me. I'm trying to figure out how I got this back where I wanted it. Landon is a bucket. That's as easy as I can put it. We talked about Landon on here before. He's been our player of the week before, but right now there's nobody in the 1A lighting it up like him, especially not against like bigger conference opponents. Twice without already in the season, going crazy. Hayden Easter is our 2A player of the week, and so I was going to wait until pull this comment up too. I didn't want to let Jason kill it for us. Jason, we appreciate you, brother, for tuning in, for dropping a little bit of knowledge to our followers in the comments. Hayden Easter from Foreman, he scored 54 the other day. 54 points flat out. I tell people this all the time, right? When you start talking about, we were talking about Jude, right? Jude scored 53. When you start talking about kids scoring like 40 and above, I honestly, like, this is a guy who knows basketball talking to you. I don't care who you're playing against. There's a clock. There are referees. There's a little bit of pressure on you. There's a crowd, right? There are people out there, right? I don't really care who you're playing against. If you can get this up in the amount of time that it takes to score this in a game, right? That, I mean, I understand what type of basketball you are possibly could be playing. I think people a lot of the times, like especially kids, it's mostly like you guys as peers, right? A kid will play at a 6A, 5A school and be like, man, I can go down there and I can have 30 or 40. You can't, bro. You can't do it. I promise you cannot. You can't. You didn't score 30 or 40. You wouldn't do it against fifth graders. It takes a skill level. It does. It seriously does. And then the next day, obviously, as we read behind me, he followed up 54 with a 40 ball. That's almost 100 points in 2 games. Once again, like I say, don't care who you playing. Now, we're talking about stipulations like you ain't going out there just jacking every shot because clearly Hayden's not doing that. Last but not least, to mention out of all of this, like Jason said there, he's class of 2029. Ninth grade. So for all of you guys, anybody out there watching, right, especially the people who have a problem with the rankings, right, please just go ask yourself, anytime your child has scored 50 points in a game, ever, don't care what age, what year, what level, don't care who he's playing. Has he ever done it? Probably not. If he hasn't, ask him, does he think he can? He'll be honest with you. More than likely, he'll probably say he can't. So these are the things that I just be wanting people to stop and think about. These things go on that if I didn't tell you this happened right now, that you probably never heard of it happening, right? You didn't know Hayden Easter from Foreman, where you probably don't even know where it is on the map in Arkansas, right? You probably don't know their mascot. You don't know anything about their school, right? Man, he's not better than my kid. He's not better than my kid, right? You read the list, see the name. I don't even know where that school is. Do better. Do your research. The problem is you. Hayden, almost 100 points in 2 games, brother. You balling. 2029 freshman, Hayden Easter from Foreman. 54, followed up with a 40-point performance. Moving along. 3A player of the week. Marcus Anderson Jr. from Gosnell. Marcus, or Jew as they call him, has just now passed 1K points with a 31-point performance, I believe, 2 games ago. Outstanding talent, right? Like, I seen him play at a prep hoops camp in Missouri, so it's like right outside of St. Louis this summer. Literally was easily the best player in the gym. Like, easily the best player in the gym. All age groups, he's a junior. All age, he's better than all the seniors in the gym, better than all the underclassmen in the gym, best player in the gym easily. Complete standout. Can anybody probably just guess why? Energy. That boy flew to every single ball. He flew to every closeout to try to get a stop. He flew up and down the court with the ball in his hands, transition, weaving, getting to the rim. He scored the ball pretty well, pretty efficiently, pretty effectively. But immediately, like I say, he was the best player on the floor just because of his energy. It wasn't a play that he wasn't involved in. Simple. Like, it was literally just as simple as that. So that was just something about, keynote from this summer. Marcus is a very good player, though. He has been putting up steady performances this season. A couple 20-point games, back-to-back, right? 3 or 4 in a row. I don't know if he's averaging over 20 points. I think he might be right at that cusp, like 18 points a game. Playing really, really, really well, though. He's averaging like almost 10 rebounds a game, too, as an under 6-foot guard. Marcus is like 5'10". So they got like a 5'10" junior point guard averaging almost a double-double off points and rebounds. It's crazy in the 3A. 3A got some size. It ain't like it's just all little dudes in the 3A or ain't no comp in the 3A. Like, I know a 3A team that can line up and beat a 6A team right now. Marcus Jew Anderson is our 3A player of the week from Gosnell. Eclipsing 1K points this week with a 31-point performance 2 games ago. Let me see who this. I don't think that was right. Make sure I got the right one. No, I did not. So our 4A player of the week is going to be Keelan Turner of Star City. I just talked about Keelan a minute ago. This shouldn't be much of a shock to you guys. I'm pretty sure if you all are still here, you just heard it. He had 29 game before, or last game, 22 the game before that. Like, I think 18, 19, and then 22 and 20. 20, 22, 18, 19, 22, and 29 again. So, like, his past 5 averaging over a dub, balling. I think Star City is 6-3. I think I just said it a second ago. And Keelan's been, like I say, the main part of it. Been the main facilitator and all of that happening. So, congrats to Keelan Turner and the Star City Bulldogs, as Keelan is our 4A player of the week. Moving along to our 5A player of the week. We got a co-player of the week here. Obviously, we got JJ Andrews, who went out with the crazy concussion injury. Prayers still going up that everything, just stays and returns normal like it is for him. Crazy, scary fall that he took in that game. The game ended up stopping for a couple of minutes. He had to, kind of be carted off with a crazy head injury and a bit of a wrist sprain his wrist up. JJ be taking a few weeks off. His parents have released a couple of posts in the past few days after the event happened. Just kind of keeping everybody posted. I want to thank them for that. Obviously, they don't have to let anybody in and know what's going on with him at all, but they felt compelled to, let all of his friends and people that support him know as well. So then we got Jacob Lanier on the other side of that. Jacob's been going crazy. I think he was our first 5A player of the week that we had on this show. He's just been keeping up that hot streak of scoring ever since. If you've ever known Jacob since he was in 10th grade, 9th grade, or before, you probably knew that he was going to be this when he got to, his senior year. He can flat out score the ball. He can put the ball in the bucket. I've said that about a ton of kids, but he does it at the highest level all the time, back to back to back. And it's not just 18, 20 points. It's 33, 35, 40, 42, 45. And then it's 25, 25 in 2 quarters or 3 quarters, right? So very skilled, very talented scorer of the ball right there with Jacob Lanier and JJ Andrews being our 5A co-player of the weeks. Moving along, 6A player of the week. RJ Young. RJ's been on a tear. He is the #1 leading scorer per game right now by max preps in the state of Arkansas. RJ, like I said, just been on a tear. He's averaging like 25 a game. Crazy, right? Just crazy numbers. And it's all off the same things that I've been seeing RJ do for the past couple of seasons. He just gotten better and better and better and better at each one of them. The way that he can score, obviously, on and off the ball is a complete asset to him. The way that the offense is kind of shaped a little bit more to let RJ work a little bit more in space, like he will kind of at the next level, has really fell into his lap really well. It's been something that he's been able to step up to the plate and control and handle, obviously, and then make himself look good on top of not just having the food put on your plate, but being able to eat all of it. You know what I'm saying? He's able to handle it all. Coach A trusts him with the duties that he's assigned, and he goes out there and gets the job done. So very proud of RJ and the young player that he's become. Sky's the ceiling for that young man. Can't wait to see him take off at Tennessee Tech next year and go bigger and beyond afterwards. Our 6A player of the week from the Bryant Hornets, who are currently undefeated, is RJ Young. We'll get over to our 1A team of the week. Our 1A team of the week will be the Jasper Pirates. They're on a good streak right now. Give me 2 seconds and I'll get you a little bit more information on that. I want to say they're 13-2, and it may be on like a 8-game win streak. I had it wrote down and I clicked off of it. It's my bad, you guys. Okay, so they were on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-game win streak as a 1A school until they lost to a 4A competitor by 3, Pottsville, who has a D2 committed guard on that squad, right? So Pottsville was almost on a 10-game, would have been a current 12-game, right? If they had won that game. They would have been on the current 12-game streak. And that's against, like I say, they're a 1A school. They play 4A Dardanelle, 4A Pottsville. Maumelle Charter is what, 5A or 4A? 4A? 3A maybe? I could be wrong. Beat them all. It's beating them all. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we here at the end of the year, we look around and we see like, hey, whoa. Where's Jasper come from? Jasper ain't, whoa. Right? Do not be surprised if at the end of the year, Jasper's out there making a run for something. Coming in as our 1A team of the week for the first time ever is the Jasper Pirates. Pretty good victories, like I say, a 30-point win over Maumelle Charter, a 40-point win over Marshall, a close win over Dardanelle, close win over Wonderview, a 3-point loss to Pottsville. So pretty good wins right there, right? 1A team of the week is Jasper Pirates. And so our 2A team of the week moving along. None other than the Foreman Gators with Hayden Easter. We'll pop this little comment up there again for you guys. Anybody who might be just now tuning back in or that missed that part. The Foreman Gators are our 2A team of the week, who are led by the freshman Hayden Easter, who scored 94 points in 2 games, 54 against Cottle Hills and 40 again the next day against Lafayette County. If you guys know Lafayette County as well, we've talked about them on here before. Cottle Hills is not super competitive. I can't even lie to you. Still, like I say, high school basketball, there's somebody out there guarding you. There are referees. There's a clock. There's not to be taken lightly at all. I'm not saying that to say like, oh, anybody can do it, because no, nobody cannot do that. 54 points is a tough feat in any game, any score. I mean, any time limit, any conference, no matter who you're playing against. But Lafayette County is a really good 1A team. Really good. Very talented athletes, skilled, coach well, all of the above. And he dropped 40 on them the day after scoring 54. Do not let that be a sleeper to you. That just makes the Foreman Gators our 2A team of the week, a team that you guys should be having fresh on the tip of your tongues or in the forefront of your mind, along with Hayden Easter, who scored 94 points in 2 games. 3A team of the week moving along. The Lavica Golden Arrows. They're off to a pretty good start, which is not something that we see a ton from Lavica basketball. Football, every couple of years, they'll have that year where, they are pretty competitive. And their girls are pretty solid from time to time in basketball as well. But I cannot, in the recent 10, 15 years of my basketball playing days, think about a time that they were really, really just good. Like I said, I could be wrong. I haven't always just studied 3A basketball, so maybe 1 or 2 years they were good, or maybe they even won a state championship between the last 10, 15 years that I don't know about. I can say for sure, I think in the last 4, since I've been really just, like I say, a scout, they haven't won. But they're looking good this year, right? They beat Elkins, who put up a super good fight down the stretch last year. They beat a really good Mountainburg team. They knocked off P Ridge by a point. They beat Cedarville, Waldron, Cossatot River. So, like, they played a good little mix of, opponents that are kind of giving them a toss-up of different things that they're going to see throughout the season, but they've been able to handle it all. They've only taken one L to Mountainburg, who they obviously went right back after that, learned from that loss, and beat them. They beat Mountainburg by, 16, and Mountainburg only beat them that first game by 12. So, they got the point differential in the two-game spread. And so, like I say, something promising to look for right there, right? Lavaca Golden Arrows boys basketball is our 3A team of the week. They're on that current, like I say, streak with only one loss right now. It's going to be kind of hard to slow them down. Looking at our 4A team of the week next, moving over to our Star City Bulldogs. Their pictured is their senior guard, Caleb Williams. Caleb was another player who was at the Vortex Sports Blueprint Skill Series earlier this fall. Was another one of those guys that I didn't know too much about before I got there, and then I learned quite a bit about him. He's a workhorse. He's a dog. I think that picture says a lot about it, him just hitting those weights like that. You normally see smaller stature guys, and they're trying to take it light. They don't really care too much about hitting the weights heavy, right? And you can tell that when you look at him, he passes the eye test. His physique is something that he cares about, that he works on. And he understands that being a smaller package guard, I am going to have to put on some pounds. I am going to have to add on some muscle if I do want to play this game seriously at any type of next level. And then he has the skills on the court that he's been putting on film recently to be able to show that and say, hey, I got potential to go there. And so I would not sleep on Caleb Williams from the Star City Bulldogs as being, a very capable player of getting to that next level, playing maybe at an NCCA institution, a D3 institution, NAIA type of deal. But very, very capable of getting in that back door. Star City themselves have been on a pretty good run. Like I said, we had Keelan Turner, who was also our 4A player of the week. Very talented young man. Caleb is his partner in crime right here. And I think, honestly, that Star City will have a really good chance down the stretch to make a deep run into the 4A playoffs if they can get out of their region. Their region is probably, I'll say it's pretty top-heavy. But then, like those teams that are kind of like middle of the pack, they'll beat you just as bad as the top of the pack team. So it's really, really top heavy through that first half, that first top half. Star City does end up being our 4A team of the week, and I'll move along to our 5A squad. Ends up being the Sylvan Hills Bears. We were talking about them earlier. Like I say, they're currently 8-1. They're on a good stretch and a good string of games without one of their best players. JJ Wise been missing for a few games with a wrist injury. He'll look to be back shortly on the other side of this winter break. But other than that, that hasn't deterred them or slowed them down. They've still been going in, taking teams on with a head of steam. Darius Fox stepped up in a big way along with some of their other sophomore players like Chance Smith, a couple of other guys over there really, kind of carving out a name for themselves. But Sylvan Hills is our 5A team of the week with an 8-1 record right now. Like I said, they're playing up in conference, down in conference, knocking guys off. They do have a couple of big tests on the way, and we'll see if they can get through those and how they fare on the other side of that. 5A team of the week is our Sylvan Hills Bears. Moving on to our 6A team of the week. 6A team of the week is our Bryant Hornets, and I think you guys probably could have guessed that, honestly. Bryant is along the way also undefeated. And they've got a super strong stretch of games to come up and compete in these next couple weeks, especially coming out of the gate on the other side of January. Like I just said, if you heard me say that stretch of games, they play like Central, Jonesboro, North Little Rock, and Little Rock Christian, like all back-to-back pretty much. Four-game stretch right there over the course of probably 2 weeks. That will be a very good litmus test to kind of see where they match up when it all comes down to time said and done at the end of the road in March. So there we have it, your 1 through 6A teams and players of the week. We really appreciate you guys for helping us get feedback on those players and those teams. Those are submitted. If you guys would like to, if you guys would like to nominate or submit someone to be one of the players of the week, you literally all you have to do is reach out to me. Let me drop this banner at the bottom. Boom. Reach out to me or one of the guys you see listed here, or one of the social media pages you see listed at the bottom. Let us know specifically that it is for the Vortex Report podcast. There is a lot of different things that we do at ASN through different umbrellas, through different sources and different guys that all pitch in to make this stuff possible here around the state. So please just help us narrow that down and get the information to the right people on what you're trying to do to get us these Player of the Week nominees. But thank you guys so much once again. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, cannot do anything that we do without you guys. Please like and subscribe. Do not forget to share. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tune in. I know this week, I know it is Thursday tonight. We do not come on at Thursdays. I made the announcement yesterday that we would be coming on at Thursday, just dealing with a few things, trying to be able to keep these guys in here, keep them rolling. They're both young students who, try their hardest to make things possible. And I also understand that when they're not able to, that we can try to find workarounds for them. So appreciate you guys keeping them in the forefront of your minds and helping them obviously grow, helping them gain some viewership, helping them out along the way as we do this podcast. Shout out to C12Media, K, for the graphics. I very much appreciate you, brother, man. Look to have you back next weekend. Sorry you were not able to make it home in time to get on tonight. I do want to thank everybody once again. Like I say, please do not hesitate to reach out to me and let's set up some form of sponsorship that we can get to you. I would love to be able to sponsor you guys' brand from now and until obviously the summer as things take off and as we get into AAU season where we're on a national level circuit. We're traveling state to state. We're impacting and bringing your brand, your visibility to other regions that are right around your state, your neighboring states, right? That will help your business or help your brand grow, whether it's visibility, resource-wise, connectivity-wise, all of the above, right? We really want to be able to help you guys reach out and expand your prowess. So please do not hesitate to reach out to me and get in touch with me for that. Thank you so much to our current sponsors, which is Arkansas Sports Network, for providing us the platform to do so. Prepwoods.com for giving me a job and a title to come help these kids and supply them with some knowledge that I can pass down. Obviously, Vortex Sports Media, myself, my own, the house, the base company that set everything up here, that runs everything, that does the production and the media side for this, as well as C12Media, my guy K, who keeps us powered with graphics and good knowledge and info, who also tunes in and gives you guys a little bit of that spotlight. So thank you for everybody and thank you to everybody. Yeah. Episode 6, man. Episode 6 weeks deep, man. We're 6 weeks in. I'm excited. I'm only excited about where things are growing and going. Looking to do more. Obviously, like I say, if you weren't here at the beginning of the episode, next week when we do come back, we'll start our first initial power rankings to be top 25, regardless of class 1A through 6A. That will be based on a couple of different things. Obviously, like your win-loss record, your win-loss versus like opponents above your classification, like your strength of competition, your point differential if you're beating teams. Let's say we got like 2 8-0 teams and they both played the same 2 different teams, right? And team A lost to team 1 by 19 and team B lost to team 1 by 12. And then team A lost to team 1 by 20 and team B lost to team 2 by 6. Obviously, if they're both 8-0, they both played these 2 opponents. I mean, they're both, I said 8-0. If they're both 8-2 and they both played these 2 opponents and lost to the same 2 opponents, but they lost to them differently, obviously, you know how that's going to play a factor into the top 25 rankings. I think we'll do our coach of the month, and it'll be from basically last month. So, like the first week of basketball that kind of started was November 10th in Arkansas. And so we'll take under that collective from now until the games that wrap up. I'll say Saturday will probably be that cutoff point. And then come back Wednesday, we'll have our coach of the month for each conference. So we'll have some new things for you guys to be able to, tune in and view in and watch and be excited about seeing. We'll get back to doing a little bit more of the underrated and overdue, which is like kind of a super spotlight on some guys that may not be like the 40-point per game scores that are kind of overrated, like the Landon Burleys and the Hayden Easters, right? They might be more of the guys that are 8 points and 8 rebounds a game that are still very athletic, or they still start on the 6A team. They're still very capable of playing D2, D3, NAIA type of ball, right? And then we'll slowly start working our way up towards the end of the season as we get to playoff time, and we'll start talking about true low major, mid major, and high major prospects. And that's all just, like I say, by my opinion, me and the guys, people that I talk to, coaches that I associate with that tell me I don't see this kid being this type of player, me kind of conferring and taking that in, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of the times, if you guys hear me say some things like that too, it is my opinion, right? But where do opinions come from? Opinions are ideas based and formulated on like research and things that you've done, you looked up, you paid attention to, right? So I take what a college coach says and how he views things much higher than what I take how some parent or somebody who's been a fan of the team for years views things. It's kind of simple. I'm pretty sure you would all do the same. So I get out there and do a lot of research, and that's what leads to how we get these polls, how we get these graphics, all of this stuff, right? So we probably will be back with, maybe not next week, probably the week after that, we'll be back with a pick'em. And then slowly we'll start working in like coach and player interviews, whether that's like a pre-recorded or a live will yet to be determined. That'll get more deeper as we get into conference, and conference matchups start really having like a meaning behind, if you lose these next 2 games, so-and-so is going to jump you 3 spots. You know what I'm saying? When things really start playing out a little bit more, and they'll start mattering for how the outlook is going to shape up towards, like I say, the end of February and March. But yeah, appreciate you guys. If you weren't here at the beginning of the episode as well, we went over the 2030 rankings that have dropped now on prephoops.com. We got 29 and 2030 rankings out now, so please go tune in and view them. If you are a 2030 player and you're not listed, that's not for you to get upset, get on there and be mad. Man, these kids suck. I don't know. That's just for you to say, hey, let me go look up. Let me go check Coach Vic page out. Let me send him a DM. Let me send him some film. Let me send him a schedule, right? So he can get on and watch me so that I can be added to these rankings, so that I can be properly adjusted, added into this list where I deserve to be at, okay? 29 and 30 are out now. 28, 27, and 26 to follow. So we got sophomore, junior, and senior class coming out. Those all should be out, if not before the first of the year, right as the first of the year, right, that first week of January. So we should have all of every class across the board in Arkansas updated as far as rankings go by the beginning of the year. The ASN Classic is coming up as well on the other side of the year in January. So that's something that you guys will look forward to. We'll have 3 great games of boys and girls over at Clinton High School. Thank you to Clinton High School for helping us get that together. Shout out to Brad Caldwell for putting all of that together as well. Our ASN Classic last year was really, really jam-packed fun over at Arkansas Tech University. And so we're looking to kind of keep something out there in that River Valley area for those guys, give them something to look forward to coming to play under our bright lights, give you fans at home that spotlight and let you guys watch that. So ASN Classic is coming up as well on the other side of the year. We thank you all for being supporters of that. We are looking for current sponsors for that. If you guys want to sponsor that event itself, if you're like Booster Club, if you're Clinton parents or anything like that, mom and pop shop around the way, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. All it takes is a simple DM, simple message, simple comment, simple inbox, and we'll help you out from there. But I think that's all the news and notes I really have for tonight. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to episode 6, man. I'm 6 weeks in. This has been a dream so far. It is only getting bigger and better, like I keep saying. I'm super thankful to have a great group of supporters. Tonight we only hit 60, which is letting me know our numbers are dwindling down just a little bit. And as I say that, we hit 62, which is, I think, concurrent our highest number of the night. And as I've noticed, obviously the numbers pick up later into the night. But it's not a stable time to be trying to go live and maintain a 2-hour show or an hour and a half show from any place past 9 o'clock at night, honestly. Especially when I got college students who are trying to get home, get work done, get in bed, get back up the next day. Not like I got college kids, but like I say, Cade and Ethan are 2 college-age students. Cade is a college student himself who does have his hands full with a ton of things to do. So I commend him for that. Try to give him, a little light load most of the time. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Like I say, you are everything. I'm signing off for the night. 10 o'clock on the dot. We'll be back next Thursday, 8:15, 8:30ish. You can always expect us right around 8 o'clock. Tell a friend, tune in, subscribe if you're not subscribed. If you're watching this on Twitter, please go to my YouTube and subscribe. If you're watching this on ASF Facebook, please go to YouTube on Vortex Sports Arkansas and subscribe to that. That is where you would never miss an episode. You would always be able to go back and watch the episodes if you weren't able to catch it. If you missed something earlier, those episodes are always posted in full to my YouTube. They can be shared. They can be clipped up, broken down. If your kid was the player of the week and you want to be able to go in there and screen record that segment and go show somebody else who deserves to see that, please do so. This is all for you guys. We appreciate you. Coach Vic signing off. Prep Hoops out. Go check the rankings now. Prep Hoops rankings 2030, out now. Go check them out now. And I'm gone.